Hi, I'm Brandon Bailey, and this is my app, PokeTracker. PokeTracker is just short for Pokemon Tracker, and which leads to the initial question of what are Pokemon? And Pokemon is a role-playing game, came out in 1995, where basically you play as a trainer. You start off with a starting Pokemon, and then you battle through the game, catching Pokemon and defeating other trainers to eventually become the champion. It's very successful in both the games, spin-off games, and movies, TV series, pretty much everything Pokemon has done at this point. And it would be very surprising if you were unaware of what Pokemon is currently. And what are shiny Pokemon? Shiny Pokemon have a 1 in 8,000 chance, and in recent games, 1 in 4,000 chance to anytime you encounter a Pokemon, there's an odd that it is shiny. And shiny is just an alternate colored form from the original, and originally was introduced in the Generation 2 games. And here are some of the ones that I've caught with the encounters over them. Uh, it, some of them take forever, some of them go quicker. So, like, Hydreigon in the top left took, from what I remember, it was about 1500, but I wasn't counting the entire time. And yeah, some of them don't take too long, some of them take a very long time, even if the odds are high that you get them. And then, like, Decidueye in the bottom left, I don't actually remember how many it took, which leads to the main thing I want to tackle with this app is how do you keep track and how do you remember how many it took? Because for me, I don't always want to sit on my desktop to count how many encounters I get. Sometimes I want to lay in bed and play. And it's hard to keep two separate counts and then add them together. It'd be easier if you could just count in one place and remember everything. And how do you remember? Most of them I remember because I took screenshots of how many it took. But outside of that, I wouldn't remember how many unless especially once you get to a certain point of catching too many, you're not going to remember all of them. You're just remembering arbitrary numbers. It's weird. So that's really the purpose of this app, is to give users the abilities to keep track anywhere they might be. So especially since the Nintendo Switch, which is the newest console and where the newest generation of games is a handheld console. Most people will play it on car rides or in bed or elsewhere. So having the ability to keep the Switch and your phone on you to keep track is really the goal of this application, because it is the 21st century and people pretty much always have their phones on them. There are similar apps, for instance, Poketch, which is a shiny counter. I haven't personally used it, but it is the closest to what I'm going for here. And then this one, or Pokemon Shiny Tracker, this is the one that I primarily use because I'm primarily on my computer, so it's easier to keep track in the browser, but it's the certain times when you want to lay in bed or go somewhere else and still play that you can't keep track. So the key features of this is looking through the Pokedex, being able to add Pokemon that are in the Pokedex, and those are loaded from an API. Add Pokemon to a currently hunting list, and once they're on the currently hunting list, you can click on them and then add encounters every time you encounter them. And then once you're finished, you can mark them as completed, and those will be in a completed list. And there's my proposal, so let's show the app now. And let's open it up. And initially when you launch it, the Pokedex shows up. There's a nice toast showing that it's loading the Pokedex. And then you can scroll through to find the Pokemon that you want. These are in Pokedex order, which makes it easier to find. Currently it's only the first 151 Pokemon, and in the future I'd kind of like to expand on that. But let's start with Pikachu, since Pikachu is very popular. So once you find the Pokemon that you want, you can click Currently Hunting, and they will be added to the hunting list. and immediately you can start adding encounters as you catch more of them. And then once you decide to close the app, when you reopen it, they will be in the hunting list. And then you can keep keeping track until you completed it, and then it will be in the completed list, which is really like the nicest thing. So anytime you pull it up, you can remember how many encounters it took for Pikachu. And say for instance you accidentally hit completed, it is a possibility. You can always remove it from the completed list. It will then reappear in the hunting list, and you can continue adding encounters. Because once it's completed, the controls are locked. You can no longer add encounters. Yeah, it's nice because you can add multiple Pokemon. You don't have to only hunt for one. That's really the biggest drawback with some of the other places I've used, where you can only really keep track of one Pokemon at a time, and sometimes you get bored of one of them and you want to start on another. So if you're got bored of Charmander, you could then swap to something else and everything would be remembered. So yeah, that's all. Actually, real quick, you can also, for instance, if you wanted to stop, you can just turn that off and then it'll be removed from the list. So yeah, that's everything, and thank you for watching.